All right, let's reset the mic. Good afternoon, Shaggy SoCal Tool for Forza, and time for Track Guide 2 for next week's races in TNT in this 1998 Porsche GT1 Strassen version. We are racing Old Mulsanne at Le Mans, and this one's going to be similar to previous track guides. I'm going to go out and run a lap or two, and kind of talk about what my intention was with this tune and kind of how the gearing is set up. And then probably even kind of do a combination, do it like as slow of a track walk as I can, to kind of talk about like how I'm taking different, the different twisty bits. Because obviously on the Mulsanne, it's just like, I'm just gonna hold the foot to the floor. But when it actually comes to what I would normally do a practice race, I'll probably do a practice race on my own later, but I think for purposes of the stream, especially for those of you that weren't part of the shakedown race that we did here, I just want to. I've got the replay saved from that, and I think it's probably more beneficial to kind of show you what this car is going to be like on race night on the Mulsanne. I think I want to spend a little time just kind of talking about what can and can't happen, what I'm expecting, and what I think will work. But with that, let me just go ahead and I'm going to do something part of these opening laps. I'm going to kind of do the tire test on the hards to kind of I've done enough on the soft and the mediums to know it's the 60% drop off. Where that hits, you'll probably only get 3 laps out of the softs, 4 laps out of the mediums, and I'm thinking 5 laps out of the hard. So I'm going to I'll probably run 1 or 2 laps here, and if it's about 24% after the second lap, then yeah, it's about 5 laps on the hard. But again, it's one of the I think the Nordschleife is the only track that's longer, and so yeah, we're not going to be doing as many laps. I think it's like I'm guesstimating like maybe about 9 laps. So if it's again, we're kind of back to that 4 and 5 lap, split on the mediums and hards. But anyhow, I'm talking too much. So let me go ahead and set the fuel and tire, and let's go out. Again, we'll do 50% fuel to keep that consistent for testing. Let's go out and test. So heading up toward the Dunlop chicane, and the turn-in point is not quite where the sector time starts. It's just past that, right about there. On the softer compounds, it might be just a lift. You don't have to brake at all to get through that corner. I think second gear for the Dunlop chicane is best. Keep to the left here, cross back over. Brake right past the pavement change, down to third, pushing a little bit. Careful of the elevation change there. Brake right at the course condition light. Third or fourth gear, I'm not sure. Now, since I've got a lot of time to talk on the Mulsanne, I had 2 versions of this car, basically the same build and for the most part the same suspension setup. It was all about the gearing. I wasn't sure if Le Mans on the old Mulsanne was on the schedule or not. So if it wasn't, we would have a 6-gear tune. The aero tops out, top speed. It's going to hit the air wall about 180 miles an hour. Since we are running the old Mulsanne here, what I wanted to do is I trimmed it so that it's essentially a 5-gear tune for everywhere else. So that 6 could be what I would call the drafting gear for the Mulsanne. Here I'm again hitting that aero wall 150, 180 miles an hour in 5th. I put 6th up enough where it gives us a little bit more rev range to work with. It just drops to 500 revs, but it gives us about 1,000 to work with before the hard limiter. But you really don't lose any momentum by going up to 6th gear. That should give us. That should give a good push, 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 push. Again, can't talk and drive. That with the high downforce, that should give us good drafting on the Mulsanne. And that's when I'll show you the replay of what that drafting is going to be like. And my own philosophy with that is it's not going to be so much bump drafting where you're going to be nose to tail with somebody down the straight. I think what actually will work is slingshotting. So you may find that you're going to get a drafting buddy early in the race for the Mulsanne, just so you can slingshot back and forth to, kind of maintain momentum, maintain speed. Whoops, a little too wide there. But that's why the car is geared the way it is. It was just to give that 6th gear as kind of what, if you want to call it a DRS gear or an overdrive or a cruise gear or a draft gear. It's mainly for this race. Or do the work. Oh, that's late. Well, I hit the curbing too, that didn't help. Okay, braking for the Ford chicane. Brake right at the start of pit entry. I can do this in 3rd. Use the curbing, brake in 2nd a little earlier than you think you need to. And you can use exit curbing there. Okay, so yeah, I think it's about 5 laps is probably what you're going to get. So I'm going to use the here, turn in. Oh yeah, tires are up to temp finally. All right, let's do the slow lap now. Then maybe I'll. So yeah, so tire wear here, soft, medium, hard, 3, 4, 5. And if it's a 9-lap race, then pick your poison. It's a long lap relative to the pit lane. So, but I haven't compared lap times to know it's like, again, if you're going to pit a 2nd time and do soft, can you make up, is the soft tire quick enough, sticky enough to make up for the extra pit? But anyhow, so heading up to the Dunlop chicane. Let's go ahead and switch back to manual. Now, I don't know. Again, we'll see. I don't know what I'll do during the race. Again, my habit has always been, if I felt that I could get away with it, is usually I will, use the runoff here on the left side and kind of open this first turn up, heading up to the chicane. Turn in again. Since we're in test drive mode, we've got the sector timing line there, but it does line up with the course condition light here right before the turn. So so you'll pass this marker, you'll pass this white stripe here. For me, the actual turn-in point is right where this 2nd white line here is. It's actually also, if you notice, it kind of marks the end of pit lane, the pit lane blend line. So usually as I'm getting here, this is where I'm going to be committing to the turn in. Might be a little bit before, hopefully it's not after. This car, even though it's got high downforce, it is still technically a street car. So even with the grippier tires, I've not tried it. I don't think you can do it flat out. You're going to have to lift. You're going to have to come out of the throttle. I don't think you need to brake. I think it just depends on, again, certainly new tires this first time through at the beginning of the race might be a little suspect. Might want to be careful of it. Certainly first time out of the pits, you're going to want to be careful. But then usually your first flyer through here, the tire should be up to temp. Even on hards, you should be able to just, let off the throttle and turn the car in and have it track through. You might get on the inside curbing a little bit. Worst case, if you need to give it just a smidgen trail brake in, that's fine. But what I'm trying to do is bring the car in, let the car come out here to the left, and try to bring it back across. For me, I'm braking for the Dunlop chicane at this first total energy sign. When I'm seeing that, for me, without the braking line, that's about where I feel I need to brake to get the car slowed down so I can take an ideal line through the chicane. Have the car over here to the right side. For me, this is second gear. Turning in, I'm going to try and clip the curbing on the inside here. I want to try and clip the curbing on the inside here. The later I can clip it, the better, because it gives me a straighter line out. I'll probably get on the exit again, curbing kind here. Bring the car back across. Just go into the Dunlop Bridge, down the hill, hug here. When you get to the end of the curbing here, bring the car back across. Late here, gonna aim, gonna try and use that as the apex. Braking for this next series of corners, depending on the tire, depending on conditions. I'm using the pavement change as kind of like it's, I think it's a little on the early side. It's definitely, if you brake as you cross over this, you should be able to get the car slowed down to make the corner. Um, if you look ahead a little bit, not quite up in here, if you're looking on the right side, you can kind of see the grass and you can see the access road there. Just before, you'll see the kind of like a dark spot on the pavement. That would be the absolute latest if you have excellent braking and really soft tires. You might be able to brake there and get the car slowed down. So I'll stop at that point. This is probably the absolute latest. You can kind of see, the markings on the pavement where you can imagine, not the tires markings I just made, but just where the splitters would have scraped on the pavement. That might be a little late, or at least, depending on tire and conditions, track rubber, all that sort of thing. Breakdown, brake downshift, probably third gear here. Again, I like to take a little wider entry and late apex it, and then cut back across and clip the curbing late. Again, throttle at this point. Again, you can kind of see we're kind of cresting a little bit of a hill with a little bit of a right turn in. So the weight's on the left side of the car. In theory, the back end should be fine, but don't be surprised. You might feel the back tires spin up a little bit. Maybe the back end rotates just a smidge as you cross the hill. Depends how aggressive you are and your steering. But just be mindful of that. Setting up for the Mulsanne. I still use the course condition light here on the left side as a braking point. What I still haven't figured out for myself is whether this is fourth gear or third gear. Again, I think conservative-wise, if I take the conservative approach, I'll downshift it to third, take advantage of the engine braking to help slow the car down, get a little more weight on the front of the car to get it into the corner. If your braking's a lot better and you think you're more comfortable in fourth through here, whatever trips your trigger. The main thing is you want to be able to carry as much speed as you can onto the Mulsanne, because that's going to, obviously, again, this is the absolute longest straightaway you're going to be on for this race. So I'll probably do it in third gear. I'm going to try and get the turn in so I can clip the curbing here without getting on the yellow bread loaves here. And the same thing on the exit. As you kind of saw in the demo lap, the ride height is not high enough to clear those curbs. So, try and stay on them if you can. If you find that you've gone wide and you're hitting them, just, you're already going to be off over track limits anyway. You might as well just cross completely over, take advantage of the pavement on the left side, get the car back up to speed, and then merge onto the left side onto the Mulsanne. I wouldn't try to hang it on the bumps there, out, getting out. It's like you're already too wide. Just exit, get the car settled, get it smooth, and get back on track. As I go bumpy. Again, onto the old Mulsanne. Again, foot to the floor. Draft here is going to be really powerful. I don't think bump drafting or being on somebody's tail and trying to push them down the Mulsanne is the fastest way to go. It is going to be about slingshotting. Slingshot past, they'll drop in behind. They slingshot past, you drop in behind. So if you can find a drafting buddy, that's probably going to be the quickest way to get down the Mulsanne. Where it gets problematic is when we have packs of 3 or more cars all occupying the same space. We had a couple 4-wide situations. So the other thing is we didn't have the radar during the shakedown. So it'll be interesting to see death wobble when we do have 3 and 4 wide situations. Hopefully we should be able to see that. A little bumpy offline. Hopefully we'll be able to see that a lot clearer, and to be able to adjust accordingly, because it's one of those that, you know, we had it in the mock race, that it's easy enough. It's easy for somebody to kind of get caught in the middle and pinball off the cars on the outside. But braking for the Mulsanne corner, what I'm looking for is I will set up on the shoulder, or I'll straddle the white line here on the left. I'm looking for this final overhang branch. Um, so as I set up on the left side, let me move back over. So I'll probably, usually I tend to just straddle the line. I don't get all the way to the edge. I give myself a little bit of wiggle room. Uh, but I'm going to start turning in as I get to this branch here. I'm going to start turning in towards the inside curving. But I think with this car, braking is going to be late. It's going to be right about, for me, it's going to be right about where the curving starts on the right side. And the way I'm setting up for it is, again, it's kind of a two-phase corner. We've got a little kink, and then we've got the sharp right-hander. So I'm going to kind of use the kink as the apex, so I can brake in a straight line, hit this apex, have the car come out to the left, straighten it up, and then this is where, you know, I'll be down to second gear, set up, probably straddle the line, and then try to turn in, clip the curving, and then roll back into the throttle. It does leave me open, you know, if somebody, again, this is going to be one of the fun things with the Mulsanne, is braking here, especially if you're in a pack. If you do the traditional line and you set up wide, someone's going to take a look on the inside. So just kind of be ready for that. So again, next longest straight. We've all been down this one. Another straight where there's going to be drafting. Probably not, obviously not as much as the Mulsanne, but wouldn't surprise me if someone gets a slingshot on you on the way down to the Indianapolis corners. But, you know, I tend to take this as a double apex, so I'll clip the inside here a little bit, let the car come back out. Again, this is if I'm on my own. If I'm in a drafting battle with somebody, it is all going to be about ideally committing to one lane or the other. And that way I'm predictable. I'm not doing anything out of, you know, sudden, because again, we're going to be going 180 miles an hour plus. But ideally on my own, setting up for the first part. I think technically Indianapolis is the left-hander, but setting up for the Indianapolis complex here, it's hard to see. We'll have to, I don't know, again, have no idea what time of day we're going to be racing yet. I am looking for the 100 board. So usually as I'm approaching here, there's usually a tree. I can see the light pole there. It is also right before we have the kind of the green, you know, I guess it's astroturfish kind of grass patch there. But that's about where I'm braking. Now, you know, if you're in fifth gear or sixth gear, if you're in fifth gear, you don't have to downshift here. If you don't, again, different philosophies. I've done it both ways. I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way. If you want to drop it to fourth gear, if you're in fifth gear, or even if you're in sixth gear, if you want to drop it down to fourth gear to set up to help get the car in, that's fine. If you leave it in fifth or sixth, that's fine. You should just be able to maybe, and that's why my short-term memory is failing me. Don't think you really need to brake. You know, you could probably just let off the gas and turn the car in. Maybe it's a quick check brake. But ideally I'm trying to get the car to the inside curving here. I'm also trying to keep it to the right. You know, I don't want to go all the way over here to the left to set up for Indianapolis, because as soon as you get to the apex of this first left-hander, you really want to have the car set on the right side or as far to the right as you can, so you can get your braking set straight for Indianapolis. For me, that braking starts right about where that access road patch is there. So I'm braking as I'm approaching. I'm looking for that. I don't think there's a tree. No, it is the patch of road I'm looking at. Brake, 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 down to second gear. take advantage of the banking into Indianapolis, get on the curbing here a little bit, gently roll back into the throttle. Try to stay off the outside curbing if you can, because there's not a lot of grace, tarmac past it. It goes straight to gravel. I've had numerous times where I've gone off there. Again, bring the car back across, second gear, third gear. There is a braking board. Um, I think it's a 100 board. That might be the 50 board. For me, that's too late. So where I'm braking is, and looking at all the Goodyear boards that are nice and upright now, may not be during the race. It's halfway between the two Goodyear signs here on the left, which matches up with the middle Goodyear sign on the right. So that's kind of what I'm trying to look for, and I'll gauge by feel where I'm braking. But third gear, brake down to second. The bump is still here. Um, I would say try and give yourself a little bit of room. I'm probably over a little further than I would want to be setting up for Arnage. Um, there is still a bump here that if you're not careful, under braking, you'll hit it and it will upset the car a little bit. I don't think it's enough. Excuse me, that was rude. It's not enough where, like in previous cars and previous Forzas, where it's really going to upset the back end of the car, because it is right about that point where you're trying to start to release the brake and turn in. So there's not a lot of weight on the back of the car. I don't think it's as bad as it's been in the previous games, but it's still there. So I would say be mindful of it. Give yourself a little room. Try and stay off the outside curbing if you can. This corner, I will do it in second gear. Turn in, clip the curbing a little bit, roll back into the throttle. All right, heading down towards Porsche curves. What I like to do is I like to keep it straight here and just minimize my steering. So when the track kind of kinks to the left here, I'll give it a little bit of steering, let the car drift out, maybe mid-track to the right side. And then I'll start to bring the back, and again, I kind of treat it as almost a double apex corner. Bring the car back to the left side, cross over here a little bit. This is, to me, the hardest turn for me to get braking right consistently, is the braking to enter into the Porsche curves. It is, again, the sector timing line won't be here in the race, so that's not reliable. It's reliable in practice, but not for race time. I do try to look for the wire that's kind of crossing the road. I'm looking at the green, faux grass patch there. Um, at night, I'm going to back up a little bit here. That 50 board is well eliminated. It's easy to spot at night. So it is somewhere in this realm. So we'll see what I do during the race, but it's always the hardest one for me to brake for. 9 times out of 10, it's either I'm too wide, too late on the brakes, and I push wide on the entry. So it might be, early on, I might be cheating in a little bit just to give myself more space if I miss the braking. The course condition light, if you see it, might be a little late, but again, it's just trying to find, for me, it's just trying to find some reference that I can gauge distance to know where I have to brake. So just, if you're behind me this first lap or two heading into Porsche curves, you have been warned. But for me, fourth gear, if you get the car, the braking right, fourth gear, roll back in, full throttle, fourth gear, a little bit of a confidence lift in, roll back into the throttle. The second part of this Porsche curves, if you notice, back the car up a little bit. If you notice, you can see the dirty part of the curbing, and then it all of a sudden gets clean. And that's because that's where cars are now turning in for the second part of the corner off, so they're not putting as much dirt onto the outside curbing. That's what I'll be doing here. Fourth gear. What I'll probably need to do is, in fourth gear, as I get here, it might be just a little quick trail brake to slow the car down a little bit, get a little weight in the front of the car, turn in, roll back into the throttle, brake again. For me, the braking for this next thing is about where the extended exit tarmac there is. So where it turns from grass to tarmac, For me, that's a fairly good reference point to trail brake for this next part of the Porsche curves. Still trying to figure out where to downshift. For me, I will downshift it to third. It helps with the braking, helps get the car slowed down, helps it keep it to the right side. And this one is done by rhythm. Where it straightens out here a little bit, you don't have a lot of time. Where it straightens out, then you need to start committing to maybe a little brake, lift again, turn it in, try and get onto the curbing. And out here, and then the final set of chicanes before the fourth chicane. So full throttle here, kiss the curbing, and then braking for the fourth chicane. You'll be in fourth or fifth gear. Braking here is about where the pit lane starts, but you can also see the discoloration change where cars have gotten on the brakes and have scraped the front of their cars. For me, this is third gear for the entry. Not right now, but it will be at speed. And I am going to try and straddle curbing. So I'm going to try and straddle this curbing, straddle that curbing. It minimizes the steering, keep the car to the right. This is the other one I always get wrong. My personal opinion, if you're trying to brake where the curbing starts here on the right side, it's way too late. So you kind of want to brake, well, I would say about halfway between where you've exited and this point. So it is about here. I don't have any reference. I have to do it totally by feel. But it is brake down to second gear. And again, same philosophy. I'm going to try and straddle the painted curving. I'm not going to, I don't think, come on, reverse. I think track limits get a little wonky, and this bread curbing these bread loaf curbs are a little bit treacherous. So I'm going to try and straddle the painted part of the curbing. And the same thing for this one. You can straddle, this one's a little bit dangerous. I don't know. Let's see. You know, this is probably dangerous. It'll probably buck the curbing. I would say try and get on the painted curbing. You can see, other cars have used it. Use as much of that curbing as you can. Roll back out, roll onto the throttle. If you do find that you push wide, this curbing won't upset the car too much. But my general thought is if you're on it and you still got steering in, it's almost better to let the car straddle it, get set straight, and then just bring it back across when it ends. Don't try to ride the curbing on the left side and have it straight, then bring it back across. Just straddle it, get it set, bring it, and merge it back across when you can. So that I think is Le Mans. And so what I'm going to do is, the thought process is what I'm going to do is I need to pause the stream, reset the mic, all that good bit rate stuff. But instead of doing a mock race, because the AI, unfortunately, because the AI is racing, different downforce and setup levels, I can't accurately sim what, in this stream, I can't accurately sim what we're going to see when we all race when we're in the same setup. So I'm going to actually exit out of here. I'm actually going to pull up the replay and try to kind of show what I experienced in the mock race or the shakedown race on 2 weeks ago. And hopefully, if you guys weren't a part of that, you at least see what is going to happen. It will make it's going to be a lot of fun, but I think we need to be a little bit more conscious of positioning. But anyhow, I'm talking too much again. So let me pause the stream here. I'll come back. We'll get into the replay and go from there. So be right back. There we go. Okay, let me reset the mic again. Okay, so let's go media, replay gallery. I do have this replay, not that one. There we go. I do have this replay shared. 627. That was the Indy one. I'll show that one later. So this one is shared if you want to go look at it yourself. TNT shakedown, TNT 8 shakedown at Le Mans. Let's go ahead and load her up. Hey, get to show off a little bit of the new. Go ahead and pause it here. And I like some of what they've done with the updates to, to try and patch the replay system. The one thing that I think they still need to fix is if you flip back and forth between different cars too much, you don't get, I can't use the controller to kind of like spin the camera. It works early on, but then it stops working, Anyhow, but let's go ahead and I'm going to go, let's change the camera type. I'm going to go to game cameras. And I'm going to go up here a little bit. Ooh, that's very loud in my ear. All right. So we're just gonna, again, we had decent turnout for the shakedown, so I'm glad you guys were here for that, especially for this track. But for those of you that have not experienced Le Mans in this Porsche, let's see, do I want telemetry up? That just gets in the way. Okay, on the Mulsanne. I think. We should go into 6th here in a second. 6th. Again, I think this is what ideally we're going to be doing in the race. It is all about slingshotting. Getting past somebody, setting up. They're going to get the draft. The bumping I don't think works. And there's the 4 wide. Hopefully the new radar makes this a little less dicey than it was before. Back up a little early. Switch. I'll follow Stu for a little bit. A little loose. Actually, I want to go back to me. A little further back, but I think for one of these laps, I'm going to want to be with Stu to kind of demo what happens when you get it wrong. Not that if he got it wrong, it's just he got sandwiched. again, this is all about letting the car do the work. Nope, 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 nope. I'm trying to look behind me. And yep, it stopped working. Thank you, Forza. Please fix that. Again, the draft, if you get, I think it's kind of like what GT7 had, if you get 8/10, once you hit 8/10 behind some of the car in front of you, you're in the draft. See how quickly we can get up on this dude. So I think this is one where I tried doing the bump, like I can give him a little bit of a bump, but it just doesn't. And this is where I think I do want to pull up telemetry. No. There we go. So 177, it's like, but I lose so much momentum that way. I think like what Voodoo just did there, the slingshot, I think is the smarter strategy. So it's just kind of timing that hold, in the draft, slingshot, get around, and then it's a question of do you hold steady and let the other car drop in behind you, slingshot, pass, It's probably going to be one of those. If there is practice this week, like on Tuesday, it probably would be worth mainly just running this circuit just to get drafting practice. Back off a little bit because we're catching Fearless. I think that's Fearless. Of a lockup. Downshift. Here, heading to push your curves. Skinned a little bit of a toe. This will be one of those, again, don't know what our bumper delays are going to be, but especially for, if you're in bucket one, you guys start talking now, because if you work together on the Mulsanne, at least for the first, at least the first half of the race, at least up to the point of the pit, you have that, it's going to help you stay ahead of the faster cars behind you. Spend a lot of time fighting and going side by side. It's going to be a little bit slower, though. I don't know, side by side in a pack 2x2. Again, it's going to be a very interesting race. Hopefully we can have a lot of fun with the drafting and not cause too much calamity, but you never know. I'm I'm actually going to switch to Stu for the Mulsanne because I think he was the one that got ping-ponged. Oh, that's right. That's where Fearless decided to... Did Fearless... Nope. Fearless didn't wreck him, or did he? Or did Mac... I gotta find out what happened here. Oh, Matt lost it on its own. Alright, let's follow Fearless, because he got... I didn't get a chance to look at this yet, because he got a huge draft late on the Mulsanne, and I just kind of want to see where he topped out at. Bit of a dragon going down the Mulsanne. That's probably dangerous. And I'm not going to answer that, but I'll mute the mic for a second. Wasn't for me anyway. So yeah, 188, you know, and again, there's still 72 RPM, 7200 RPM. There's still rev range to work with. So maybe I didn't need to make 6 quite as tall, but I think it still worked out pretty well. But let's go ahead and let's get out of that. Let's go back to Stu. Because Stu's going to get ping pong here. It's like, what are we doing? Oh, four, well, technically 4 wide, but yeah, this is where Stu kind of gets, you know, yes. Can we go 4 wide on the Mulsanne? Yes. Is it advisable to go 4 wide on the Mulsanne? No, especially if you're in the middle. That's what will happen. But yeah, Fearless got a hell of a run there. Actually, I do want to get one last look at what he topped out at. I think once we kind of clumped together, he got a major draft. Yeah, he almost hit 190. That was nicely done. Just see a 189 flashing there. So that's what's in store for us on the Mulsanne in race 2. Thankfully, nope. Thankfully, it's just 9 laps. Oops, not Stu. We already been on. There we go. So yeah, but general opinion of the replay adjustments. I like the driver list there. That's nice. I just wish that I still didn't lose control, like from the game camera perspective, that I didn't lose control of swiveling the camera around. I think they still need to figure that one out. So I don't know if I can fix that by going back and forth. Is that, nope, doesn't fix it. So still some things to work on in the replay. Replay's still cut off after 20 some minutes. So I was hoping that they could, that worked a little better, but I guess not. But anyhow, that is old Mulsanne in this Porsche. It's gonna be crazy. Should be a lot of fun though. All right, I'm just all enthralled watching the replay. So yeah, strategy wise, slingshotting is going to be the best. Probably, probably finding your drafting buddy. It's almost not that we're all teammates, but certainly I don't think I haven't. And again, I haven't done lap time comparisons, but I would think that you're going to want to pit with somebody that's running close to your same pace. Um, Maybe be on the same tire strategy, just to help get you to the front. Certainly, if you pit on your own, and then you wind up running at least a lap on your own, you're probably going to lose track position. But um, anyhow, that's just kind of the preview of Le Mans. Again, it's not worth me doing, at least on stream. It's not worth me doing a mock race against the AI because you're not gonna. I'm not gonna have that kind of situation uh, getting into a pack of 4 or 5 cars heading down the straightaway. But with that, I'm going to call it a day. Hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. We'll see you next week, and happy racing.